I'm going to ask Alderman Betts to lead us in a word of prayer after that. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Father in heaven, we again are truly grateful for the day of life that you've given to each of us, and grateful for the way that you have watched over us and you have taken care of us. And Lord, we do pray for those that are still recovering from the storm, going through present storms. Pray, Lord, for your presence and your guidance and your comfort to be in their lives. Ask you, Lord, that you bless those who are working to restore the power and a sense of normalcy in their lives. Pray, Lord, that you will protect them. We thank you, Lord, for being our God and being good to us. And we pray, Lord, now as we take care of the bits of this city, that we do it wisely. For we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I'd like to welcome everybody here. I think it's a good night for Vidalia. We've got a lot of things to discuss. There are a couple of people that I'd like to recognize that are here. We have some guests that's going to be on the agenda later. I will introduce them later. But Bill Murray's here. He was our city manager. And Bill, good to see you. Good to see him. He retired on us here a couple of years ago. So he just fishes and has fun. So also in the back, the handsome man with the blue jacket on is C.J. Arnold. C.J. has become a dear friend. He is someone. Was the CEO. He's retiring, or he's stepping out a little bit. He was the CEO of Black Belt Energy, which is the agent for the Louisiana Municipal Gas Association, and he has done nothing but been a big benefit to Vidalia. And he was instrumental when the gas line was going to be discontinued. This guy was the instrumental part in putting that together and making that happen. CJ, we appreciate it so much and what you've done. He's also, when we got in office, we didn't have BASF's natural gas business, and CJ, I accompanied him in Houston, and he sat down across from the people there, and he made it happen. We have their natural gas business, and he's done a lot of things to help us and with our gas system, and I can't thank him enough, and I appreciate him being here tonight. So anyway, let's get on with it, and we'll have roll call.
Town of Vidalia Board of Aldermen roll call for a regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen dated September 14th, 2021. Alderman Betts.
Present.
Alderwoman Denby.
Present.
Alderman Gardner.
Here.
Alderman Probst.
Here.
Alderman Smith. Alderman Smith's noted to be absent at this time. Mayor, let the record show a quorum of the board's present and accounted for.
Okay. I did talk to Alderman Smith. He is in Orlando. He got an award for being the best salesman for the insurance company. Said he regrets he couldn't be here, but this was a recognition, and he regrets not being here. He sent those, wanted me to mention something. So, okay, first thing we're going to do is approve our minutes of our previous meetings. Is there any questions? Can I entertain a motion to accept the minutes?
Make that motion.
Motion made by Alderman Betts. Right here, second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Gardner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. Now, we're here to the public comment on our current agenda, the way we do things. If you have any comments on something on the agenda from the public, if you want to say something at this time would be the time to do it. So is there anybody from the public would like to say anything about anything on our agenda? No, I mean, if you have a comment on you can certainly, speak now.
If you'll let me, I know it's not proper, I'd rather comment.
Okay, all right, well, we'll reserve, I think, yeah, that'd be great. Okay, so,
I've got some comments.
yeah, okay.
So the first thing I want to say is, I don't really agree with the comments at the beginning of the meeting. I've been kind of absent because I've been, COVID or whatever, but I have been watching online. And one thing that I've noticed is the new way of doing things. We don't have, as citizens, the information that we need to make relevant comments until the issue is brought before the board. So that's an issue that I would like to know if the board would consider going back to the way that we were doing it. And then the other comments that I have, I'm a little concerned about the new addition to the Levee Road. And I'm sure you know, is it Terrell?
Mm-hmm.
How do you pronounce it?
Pardon?
How do you pronounce it?
Terrell?
Terrell, okay.
Terrell.
So,
Terrell, yeah.
hi, Destiny Robb, I live on 35 in Vidalia. And so trucks are problematic for us. That's a known issue. And so what my concern is with this new business coming in, will we be seeing more 18-wheelers? Because those 18-wheelers don't just run by my house. They run by our upper elementary. And I've seen them countless times run the stop sign. And you know from previous meetings that one of those trucks actually hit the blinking light that tells you how fast you're going in the school zone. And it's been over a year and that still hasn't been replaced. So the trucks are a hazard and that's an issue for me. So beyond that, what I want to say is I pulled your ordinances today. And the ordinance states that you cannot expand a business that is in non-conformity with your current zoning. So right now, you're zoned in that area, and I have the high-resolution map that I got from Mr. LaShawn. And it shows that in that area is mixed-use commercial, and it's also agricultural. But it is not zoned as industrial. And so when you have a business that is not in compliance with your zoning, then according to your city ordinance, you can't expand that building.
Okay, you couldn't get reading close on your time, Destiny. Go ahead, please wrap up, and then and that's going to be in an application here in just a little bit. But I mean.
Okay, well that's a huge concern for me, and that that's something that you may not be able to do because of your own city ordinances. And the city ordinances also show that those trucks are in residential zones in that area. So I'm here, to talk about that. To voice my concerns about that. And to ask also, is that going to increase our traffic, our 18-wheeler traffic? So, and then the other thing that I want to bring up, Mayor, is that before COVID, we had, and back when Ms. Dore was still an alderman, we had a public hearing about the hydroelectric funds and how we took votes of what we wanted for that money. I think you suggested a statue, and there were other public meetings I think that y'all just recently had. But nowhere in those public meetings did y'all really talk about, that we have earmarked money for a park. So I'm curious, what happened to the plans for a park?
Okay. Well, that's not on the agenda, but I've addressed that situation in several meetings.
Right.
And I'm sorry you've been absent, but I mean, we're really getting long into your time, really, so.
Mayor Kraft, I'd like to say we didn't stop them when they were talking public comment. I'd like to remind you, we did not stop them, and we did not call a quota time on them when they were doing public comment.
That was public meeting when we
No,
was
it
talking
was
about
public comment. Let's hold a public comment. If we give it to the people, let's give it to the people.
Okay.
Let them have their time.
All right, go ahead, Destiny. Alderman Probst was here.
Also on this, that you guys have plans to install a culvert in the area of Viking Street. And I don't really have too much comment about that, but I do want to say with a child in the high school, one thing that I've noticed, now we pick him up every day, he doesn't ride the bus. But one thing that I've noticed is that there's a lack of sidewalks. So I was wondering if the city could also, when they're considering this project, if they would consider, and if Vidalia Beautification, if that would be something you all would be interested in working on for those kids, because the cars go by so fast.
Sidewalks and parks were discussed at the last meeting.
Okay.
So the park was discussed.
But they only watched one of the meetings. So y'all had two meetings,
Two
right?
meetings.
Okay.
Park was discussed and sidewalks the second meeting.
Oh,
Well,
good.
they don't take care of the sidewalks they have now. They did do more.
One more, see, you made me do all these public comments all at once, so I have a lot to say. One more thing that I have to say. You're gonna be discussing, the trees and getting them off the power lines. That's wonderful. That's definitely something that's needed in Vidalia. But my concern with that is that I don't wanna see a whole bunch of our historic trees, and this is also a beautification. I don't wanna see our historic trees, be mutilated or get cut down, because I feel that they're important to the town and its beauty and attracting new people to live here. So I know you like Lafayette and you spend a lot of time there. They have an ordinance protecting their city trees, and it shouldn't surprise let's consider what is historic and what was here when the town moved.
Okay, all right,
Okay,
all right.
thank you so much.
all right, thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I am with Terrell River, sir.
Yes, sir.
We bought that 2J Ranch, Bidet Doctor Storage, 365 Dry Dock. We didn't come in here to town to tear up anything. And we do this up and down the river. This is a family company from a small historic town in northeast Louisiana. We care about our community just as you do. We're not coming here to tear up roads. I mean, that business that we bought, the lady in that office, most of you may know Miss Betty, she is 94 years old. She's still working there right now. We kept her daughter. Her daughter wanted to stay on. She stayed on. We're not trying to just tear up anything in this neighborhood. And I just want to say that because we're a good company, we're good people, good Christian company.
And we appreciate y'all being here.
And we come here and we plan on generating a lot of taxes to build you parks, to fund stuff for your children, and a lot of our employees' children, you know. So, our name is going to be put on something around here. People are already asking us to sponsor this and that. We're trying to participate as much as we can, as early as we can, to become part of the community. And we're not here to tear up your roads. That business is there probably a lot older than a lot of these houses on these roads. So these people chose to live in that. Maybe not, I don't know. But, you know.
Okay,
But I'm just saying, and I didn't interrupt you either. So, you know, we're here just to be, we're in business. We want to we're going to play nice with everybody. And if the truckers are doing wrong, we will put signs up to let the truckers know. I mean, we cannot control what a trucker does when he drives off that property. It's not our responsibility. But we will tell them to the best of our ability to slow down, obey all the laws, tarp their loads, and be courteous to everybody out there. Because we would want it in our neighborhood, and we appreciate the ability.
All right,
We would want it taken care of in our neighborhood.
Destiny, we're going to move on with our meeting. Okay.
It is a big issue.
Destiny, we're going to move on with our meeting. Y'all can discuss that after.
I'm not going to discuss it after me.
Okay.
I just wanted to just thank y'all, and we're
Okay,
happy to be
thank
here.
you so much. I appreciate you being here. Okay, first, now we'll go into our presentation of financial statements for July of 2021. Ms. Deborah Moak, our CPA.
Tonight's financial statements include the balance sheet as of July 31st, 2021, the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances for the 1 month ending July 31st, 2021, a summary budget to actual comparison by fund, and a detailed budget to actual comparison by department. These financial statements have been distributed to all the department heads and aldermen for their review. In summary, the town has combined cash in the bank of $13.1 million, including restricted funds of $11.3 in the hydro fund and $691,000 in the sales tax fund. The town has investments of $3.9 million, which includes $2.4 million in the hydro reserve fund and $1.5 million in the general fund. Total assets are $42.7 million. Total liabilities are $9.9 million. The fund balance is $32.7 million. The statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in fund balance for the 1 month ending July 31st, 2021 indicates combined revenues of $3.8 million, total expenditures of $3.2 million, for a change in net position of a positive $581,592. These financial statements include $4.7 million received from the Catalyst O River Hydro for April through June royalties. The hydro royalty amount for the month of July amounts to $1.9 million, with a total cost of power paid by the town of $990,000. Sales tax revenue for the month of July was down from the same time last year, but slightly higher than the prior month. Overall, revenues are at 8% of the total budget, and expenses are at 9% of the total budget. The overall change in net position is at 6%, which is less than expected. We are still working with FEMA to recover emergency work and debris removal costs caused by the 2021 winter storm. The town is expecting to receive $267,500 reimbursement. Everything has been submitted for Category B, which is the emergency preparedness, and we are working on the remaining projects. An extension of time until December 31st, 2021 has been requested and granted. The extension is necessary in order to apply for permits needed to dispose of the debris. The entire process will take a few more months to complete before we start receiving funding. Through today, approximately $3.8 million has been borrowed for the substation construction to cover materials, engineering costs, and legal fees incurred. The aldermen have been notified before the draws are made so that they can be aware of where the money is being spent. The town has saved a lot of money by procuring the materials prior to the pandemic. The appraisals are complete for the right-of-ways and negotiations are pending for the acquisitions. The town has received approximately $705,000 of the $1.4 million allocated to the town from the American Rescue Plan Act. This money will show up in August financial statements. The remaining $705,000 will be sent next year. This money has been deposited in a certificate of deposit at Delta Bank. The money must be spent over 4 years or returned. Eligible uses include responding to the public health emergency, negative economic impacts, revenue loss due to COVID-19 public health emergency, provide premium pay to eligible workers, and make necessary investments in water, sewer, or broadband infrastructure. We are working with our engineers to determine the best possible uses of this money.
Okay, any questions, Ms. Moak? Okay, thank you, Deborah, appreciate it. Okay, next one, we have approval and votes on approval of occupational license applications. The first one you have is Miss Lou ENT and Allergy. It's going to be, it's Dr. Jason Durrell. Is he here, Doctor? Okay, not. Okay, he's going to be at 1635 Carter Street, Bidet. Do I hear a motion we accept this application?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Alderman Best. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, second by Alderman Garner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next one we have is Hut Little Rock. This is just on Pizza Hut. They're changing ownership. This is a change of ownership only. Can I hear a motion we accept this?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Alderman Garner. Here a second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Denby. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next one we have is Eric Grantham. Is Eric here? Okay. Hey, Eric. He's got Delta Hydro Cleaning. You want to tell us a little bit about what you'll be doing?
It is gonna be a salt wash, residential and commercial clean.
Okay.
I'm moving into the roof clean also. That would also be considered salt wash. That's pretty much what I will.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you. Hear a motion to accept this?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Alderman Best. I hear a second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Denby. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next one we've got is Tea Time Nutrition, Terrell Fife. Terrell, are you here today? Terrell, can you tell us a little bit about yours?
It's gonna be our little, strength club, provide alternative weight loss program, we have a couple in the town already. Simply reopening a location under a different name that operated before under Vidalia.
Okay,
Same ownership.
all right, appreciate you coming to today. To hear a motion to accept
I'll make
this.
that motion.
Motion made by Alderman Garner, here a second. Second by Alderman Probst, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we've got Terrell River Service on 17 Levy Road. Of course, they bought 2J Ranch, and we appreciate you. He's here. I mean, have y'all resumed operations already?
We have, yes.
Okay. All right, is there any questions? Do I hear a motion we accept this one?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Alderman Best. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Denby. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, now we have 2 outdoor sign applications. One is from, and by the way, that's Marvin Collins, right? Marvin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and your position with Terrell is?
I'm the land operations manager.
Okay.
Overall land facility.
Proud to have y'all. Thank y'all. Welcome to Vidalia. Okay, we have an application for a sign for Terrell. It's going to go on their building there. You can see that. I hear a motion, we accept that.
I make the motion.
Motion made by Alderman Denby. I hear a second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Betts. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the other is for the Tea Time Nutrition. You'll see his application there. Any questions? Do I hear a motion we accept?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Alderman Gardner. Here a second.
I'll second.
By Alderman Betts. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank y'all very much. Appreciate y'all investing in the town. Okay, next thing we have Mr. Gary Ragusa and Clint Arnold. It's just going to be discussion and vote on approval of a request for proposal for advanced metering infrastructure system with Aquametrics, Inc. And this is a request for proposal. They're putting together a proposal for the town. And Gary, I'm going to let you tell them a little bit about
Yeah,
it.
thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you, Aldermen and Alderwomen, for having me this evening. My name again is Gary Ragoose. I'm with Aquametric. Aquametric has been in business now for over 25 years, deploying AMI systems throughout California, Texas, and Louisiana. We've done over 100 of these systems in our territory and have a real specialization in the deployment and implementation of these systems. And so what an AMI system does for a community is basically replace or repurpose the existing meters for gas, water, and electric to make them capable to communicate over the air and be read automatically. And some reasons that a city might go with this solution is, A, if they're having trouble properly reading meters, to send out accurate bills to constituents, or to provide a higher level of customer service for their people. And so that's what we do, and I'd be open to any questions that you guys might have.
Any questions from the council?
Question I got is, would some Bobby and fiber optics, is that something y'all would use, or is it some other way y'all?
Yeah, we do via radio, and so we would put antenna up at 2 of your water tank locations here in the city, and we'd be able to read all the meters in the city.
Okay, so you don't use a line or fiber optics or anything
We
like
can use it, we can use it for the backhaul from the tower location to bring the data back, and that's something that we have discussed, yes, sir.
that? Okay.
And this is for all the utilities, water, gas, and?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
They're for all.
We're the vendor here for Census products, and Census manufactures every type meter, gas, water, and electric, the reading system, and also the software.
Can I ask you also, what cost savings have you produced in other places, to other towns?
Yeah, so cost savings is really per town, but an average cost for meter reading is approximately $1 per meter per month, and that's something that obviously is a savings, but typically you don't lay off people, right? You would repurpose people to do other jobs. And then also you see typically a possibility of increased revenue on the water side, particularly when the current water meters get very aged. They start to slow down over time, and so that's another revenue generator.
Okay, so you're saying cost savings is due to finding problems with meters? Or?
Yeah, so another advantage to one of these systems is being able to proactively manage the utility as opposed to waiting for problems to arise and then running out to try to fix them. You can proactively monitor the system, for instance, customer leaks. You know, today a customer might call in with a leak, you have to send a truck out to verify, then you have to possibly go fix it. With this system, you would be notified about a leak within the first 24 hours.
Right.
You can then contact the customer and tell them they have a potential leak situation prior to them getting billed for a full month of water that's not being used.
Again, this is just a request for the proposal they're putting together for us. Another thing is, one of the biggest problems we have is people with locked gates, dogs, and that causes a lot of problem in billing, because sometimes it's delayed because if you can't get in to read that person's meter, they got to go back out and everything's held up. Nobody can get it keyed in until you get those rereads done, and this will stop and eliminate a lot of that. People can probably be a lot easier on some of the residents, have to worry about putting their dogs up to date. They can read meters and all that sort of thing.
So this would eliminate meter readers having to actually go out and by foot reading?
No, you would still have people having to go out just to troubleshoot and look at things, maybe do rereads and look at stuff. You'd still have that.
It would
probably could
eliminate the
repurpose
need
one or
for
two
them
people.
to be meter readers, so to speak, but they would transition into maybe a maintenance position or a technical position.
Okay, so you would bring in training for them to learn how to?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
work the
Aquametric is a
system.
full turnkey provider, so not only do we provide the product, we also have our own implementation staff, and we also have our own training and support staff and provide
So-
ongoing training for our customers.
So now, would that be the route that you would be going? You would utilize the ones that are already in the capabilities of those positions to train, to be able to go out and do what he just stated?
Right, and you're still going to have cutoffs, rereads, and that sort of thing, just strictly from a standpoint. But it does help you if a meter is not reading or something, you'll get a warning or something in your billing system that they can look at and say, hey, we got an issue there, and they can discover and take care of. And we've looked, like Bobby's been involved in all this, and we've looked high and low, and a lot of technologies have come out, and Gary and them have been very aggressive and done a good job and done a lot of work. And this is, again, for them to put together a proposal to come to us. Sure.
Does it have a way to notify you of excessive use and anything over and above what's on?
Yes, absolutely. there's high flow alarms, broken pipe alarms, just on the water side, leak alarms and pressure alarms on the gas side.
Huh?
That'll save the residents money on all.
Right, that's what I'm talking about,
It-
yeah. I would say,
Is it gonna speak at the certain specific house, or is it gonna say in a certain zone or area?
No, it's per meter, so
Okay.
for instance, if you have an electric meter, gas meter, and water meter all at your service location.
Right.
Those each speak individually, and so if you have a problem with just water, it would alert the city to just your water meter.
Okay.
And then the others as well.
And that saves people, I mean, if they have a broke line under their house and they get a big bill, the town can't rebate that money. I mean, it's a sad thing. This would really help the people in that particular.
What's the life of your meters?
Yes, sir. So we tell, the system is a 20-year system. The meters are 20-year meters with a 15-year full warranty and 5-year prorated. However, we expect it to last a lot longer, kind of like your car warranty, right? You get a 5-year warranty, but you sure hope your car lasts longer than that. And so we would expect it to last much longer than the 20-year.
Would y'all do this in a segmented way, like do gas first, do electric or water?
So that would all come through the deployment planning. We would work with the city to come up with that. There have been instances in the past where we've done all three at one time, and there's been instances where we've done a phased approach over maybe a couple years. So that would really be in the next phase after, you know, the proposal. Whatever worked best for the city, obviously.
And he'll be getting together, he's going to start on his proposal. I think y'all need to, somebody need to make a motion and let's move forward with it. Gary and Clint, thank y'all for coming tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Alderman Betts, here a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Probst, all in favor say aye. Okay, next thing we got is board discussion, vote on approval of a master equity lease agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management and Joey Nunn with the area manager. Joey? Thank y'all.
Thank you. Y'all be careful.
You got out in this bad weather, huh?
Well, I wore my Enterprise green jacket.
Okay, what Joey and them, we have been talking to them for how many months?
3 months, I think. give or take.
It's been a good while. We've really hashed out a lot of scenarios, and, you know, there's a lot of people locally doing that. I know y'all have noticed the Sheriff's Department's new fleet of vehicles. They're taking part in this program. I know Natchez is taking part in it. Several other municipalities are participating in it. We've talked to Ruston, and we've also talked to, who else do we?
The city of Broussard.
Broussard. I wasn't on the Broussard, but the Ruston call, they've been with you guys 6-7 years, and they said they love it. I will tell you, one of the concerns I had was that when everybody in town saw, you know, several new vehicles, they're going to go, that's why my utility bill's so high, but it's not going to affect your utility bill. And the mayor of Ruston said actually the opposite. He said the town took more pride in, they were happy to see their town looking good, you know, with nice vehicles on the road. And it also helped the morale of the employees by having nice equipment and vehicles to work out of, and that it was really a big win for them. Mm-hmm. And the maintenance and expense, I just did a quick number. I think we're spending about $118,000 a year, up to $125,000 a year just on maintenance and repairs of vehicles. So that being said, that's my spill on it. I'm going to leave it up to the pleasure of the board to ask their questions and to move forward with it. And
I guess my question is not going to be to him. Did council review and look at this agreement? And council, did you review and look at the agreement that was being?
I don't think.
I've looked at it,
Okay.
but I'm not expert in any phase of it.
We actually had, just so you guys are aware, LMATs. So Cliff Palmer and Paul, I'm sorry, long day.
I know.
Both reviewed it and from procurement stance, looked it over and saw the addendums that we made. So one of the things in there is our master lease agreement, because our family-owned business is located in St. Louis. It states it's a St. Louis agreement, but one of the addendums we made based on regulations that Paul and people asked for is to make sure that it says based on Louisiana state law. So a lot of the addendums have been approved already by them, just so you guys are aware.
I'll make a motion, we go to the agreement.
Okay. Motion made by Alderman Probst. Here a second.
I'll second it.
Second by Alderman Betts. Now, Now, we will look at it and determine which vehicles and how many, you know, that we can do and what's available and that sort of thing. And with that understanding, y'all okay with that, to look at it and just manage?
Well, the one thing, I made the motion, but now we're in discussion, but the one thing that I do want to see is the police vehicles, one of the first, some of those vehicles are in bad shape.
Mhm.
And I think that's the one that need to be looked at. I know Ruston, according to talking to Jay today, they didn't have police involved in theirs, correct?
So everyone has come on board a little bit differently. Ruston, when they came on board about 7 years ago, I was telling Jay that we didn't do police vehicles back
Right.
then. About 5 years ago, we did start entering into police vehicles. So like City of New Roads, Opelousas, Winfield, all these other cities have been working on their police vehicles. I've spoken to your police chief, and as far as Tahoes, we've started trying to find and locate some. So we've actually been working both sides to where they work together from a holistic approach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, motion, any more discussion? Okay, motion been made, a second's been made. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Joey, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Okay, next thing we have is we got a report, and it's in your packet there. It's the recent inspection of the town animal shelter by the Louisiana Department of Agriculture. And I want to just give hats off and recognition to D.D. Roberts and the work that they do at the dog pound. It passed all the inspection, and we're really blessed to have a good place for, if your dog gets picked up, you've got a good place to go and taken care of until it can be either sent somewhere else and taken care of, or the owner can reclaim it. So this is just for information, and I want them to know that we are in good shape with that. So the next thing I have is board discussion and vote on approval of Brian Hammond and Associates to provide all professional services related to the Louisiana Water Sector Program. To tell you a little bit about, right quick, what that is about. You know that all the states and a lot of municipalities got some of the coronavirus relief money, and the states took $300 million of that money and they put into the water sector program. And these, what it does, it establishes and provides grant funding for repairs, improvements and consolidation of any kind of water and wastewater facilities around the state. And that $300 million is out there, and that deadline for the application is November 1st. And we put that and put up public notice, and we put public notice for engineering, and Bryant and them was the only one to respond. We appreciate that. And this is basically to accept the approval and to accept them for the professional service related to this project, so they can get started on it, so we can get our part of that money. So is there any questions that y'all would like to ask? I'd hear a motion that we do it, and then we'll discuss it if you want to.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Alderman Betts. I hear a second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Probst. Okay, any discussion? Brian, anything you'd like to add to that?
Just that the project is the rehab of a sewer lift station and the addition of a sewer lift station to the street down in the orchard where there have been issues, and it's a very fundable project. This is a 25% max. The town will have to come up with 25% of it, but the payment of any professional fees goes towards that max. So it's about a $4.25 million project, and for improvements to the sewer.
That's Apple Street? Apple Street?
Yes, down the end of the street. It collects all the wastewater from the whole area, so there's a lot of infiltration, so it's a capacity issue, and that's one of the fundable parts of this program.
That's good.
Okay. Motion made. We've been seconded. We've had discussion. Now we'll have a vote. Okay.
And I will say, Alderman Probst, we have submitted the certification for the industrial park to get that to get certified. It's been submitted.
Okay.
Okay. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Now we have the board discussion and vote on approval of resolution for capital outlay request for Bidet, for the Bidet utility system upgrades. This is something we have to do, that our governing body has to approve that. As y'all know, we have $10 million in capital outlay at the state, and we have to, this is one of the steps we have to do to get this on the to go before legislature next year. We have to approve it, that we continue to we need this money. So that's what this is about, and I'm asking y'all to approve that, that we vote, to approve this resolution for the capital outlay for our Vidalia utility system upgrades. Any, to hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Alderman Probst made a motion. Alderman Betts, you want a second?
That's fine.
Second, Alderman Betts. Any discussion? Okay, everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we got, basically the same thing is we have the port facility, which is in the process. They've got money available for their, purchasing the slack water, portion of the port. And so that's the same thing. To get on the, legislature's, agenda, we have to get this approved. So is there any question on that for the port? Do I hear a motion we accept this?
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Alderman Gardner. I hear a second. I think I heard Ms. Denby. And any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Earlier on Facebook, I said something about an announcement that, you know, that's big news for our citizens and our businesses in Vidalia. This is something that we have been talking about and really excited about getting to this point for years and years and years with our hydro royalty. And I just can't imagine, I've invited Bill tonight because this is pretty monumental and I think this is very big for our whole town. It's going to, I think, have a profound effect when people start realizing what's fixing to come down and happen. To realize what Sydney did those decades ago to put this deal together is mind-boggling to me, especially if we had to do that in today's environment. I don't see how it could get done. But he did, and Bidet is the benefactor for it. And I think we're really, really blessed to be in this relationship. Some of the things we're going to talk about here in a little bit are the direct result of that. But I just want to thank the family for staying involved in the hydro, and we do have a museum that's down at the convention center. Of course, about just a week or two after we had opened it, COVID hit, and so it's been kind of not a whole lot going on with it or advertising for it just because of the COVID and things that's going on. But we've had our meeting. We've already done all of our work. I do want to recognize Elizabeth Tanner. Elizabeth, raise your hand back there. Elizabeth is our hydro guru. She has handled it for a long time, and she does a wonderful job on tracking all the information and keeping up with all these monies and how to disperse them and you know what's going on with the monies, and she's really been invaluable in helping us with that. So tonight I'm going to be asking the board, you know. In the past, we have one year that we did, figured, I think it was maybe last year, we did a different computation on how we came up with the rebate, and we're going to do it a little different this year, and I think you're going to be very impressed. We're fixing to put it up on the screen, and we're going to show what the rebate we're going to be asking the alderman to approve for this year. So, Bobby, if you could put that there. If you'll see that bottom figure there on the bottom, that's what we're going to be asking to give rebate to our citizens and businesses. And for people who can't read that, that's $2,503,463 will be going back to our citizens. Y'all, that's big. I did a calculation on just my utility bill from last year. And if, based on last year's consumption, now it's going to be a little different. I'm right at 48%. Of what I paid for my electricity bill, I'm getting back in a check. And every citizen that has a electric utility bill will be getting that check this year. So, Bidet we're in a good place. We're in a very good place. Imagine the businesses, those businesses and the restaurants and the hotels and what it's going to mean to them. It could even mean hiring some extra people, doing extra things. So, if you'll see at the top, that was the total royalties for it that we took this year was $14,507,000. When you see the participation costs, including legal fees, of $7,557,13, we're required to buy 6% of the power generation that the hydro has. That's that participation cost. The satisfaction of the debt requirement, y'all know when we first got in office that was something that came off of that. But we felt like it wasn't handled properly, and we put it over into the general fund to pay for that. And so we took, it used to be a $300-something thousand note would come out of that, but we've got it where we're handling it with the general fund. And the 38 mills calculation that goes into our utility fund, that's by ordinance, that's in the ordinance. And then expenses related to this other miscellaneous expenses. And that leaves a total revenue available, $5,006,926, and half of that can be available for rebate, up to somebody 50% of the consumer's utility bill. So that's pretty substantial, and I'm excited about that. And I want to shout it from the rooftops. I really do, and I want to thank everybody that has been patient to get to this point. I'm going to ask the council if they got any questions about the rebate. And I'm asking them to rebate that that full amount. I hope they do. So, any questions?
What was the amount? I can't remember from last year.
It was 1.2 million, I think. 1.2.
Last year.
Huh? 1.2 and some
1.2
change,
million.
north of 1.2 million. It was 1,285,200 was last year's rebate. And again, when I plugged that in, my effective rate, if I were to calculate it, my rate went from, I did a total on my utility bill, and my cost was about 10 cents a kilowatt, which is pretty cheap already for a municipality or our power provider. And when I figure in that rebate, my cost for energy was 5.5 cents. That's cheap. So,
You asking for a motion, I'll make it.
okay, motion made by Alderman Betts to approve that amount for our citizens and businesses. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Gardner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank y'all very much. Congratulations for Dave. Bill, would you like to say something?
If I could,
Yeah.
y'all indulge me for a minute. Again, as my father's no longer here, but I lived with him through all the work that was involved. He had a mayor and a board. He had retired from the city and was hired to pursue this. But first, the vote was taken with the people of the day. Some people here probably remember that, and they voted. It was an overwhelming vote to go ahead with the project. So he worked for the city's employee to do that for very little. He was the lowest paid mayor in the state. So it was all about Vidalia and the people of Vidalia. It's taken a long time. This board, this mayor, from the get-go, the board before this board, have supported and understood what this was supposed to be for the people and have implemented that process. And now, going forward, you're gonna see, as Russ said, mine will say it's 50% of your electric bill now that you're getting back. Next year, will definitely, they should be by projections. There are challenges ahead for the city because the contract will run out in about 10 years or less, and revenue will go down. But all of us has already decided to have meetings and get as many people involved as we can, put a long-term plan in place, so it's not like pull the rug out from under everybody when that time comes. But it's taken a long time to get here, but it's what Dad envisioned. It was about high cost of electrical, people coming and beating the door down like it has been here back a few years, about was few adjustable charges or something there. And then he just, through a friend of his who was an engineer in Baton Rouge, came up with the idea in 13 years to get the thing built. Now the people today are going to do this as he foresaw they would. So I appreciate y'all standing up like you are and giving the people what the project was developed to do. Thank you.
All right, thank y'all, Bill.
Let me know we might need.
No, I think it's pretty important. And with this approval tonight, since we've been in office, or since I've been in office, it's not me, it's team effort. We've paid back to the citizens over $5,184 in 5 years, in 5 years. So that's pretty substantial. So I think we all should be proud of that. Okay, let's move on. Board discussion and vote on approval of funding from excess hydroelectric revenues for town beautification and landscaping projects to be managed by the Bidet Beautification Committee and Bidet Garden Club as presented at public hearings held August 31st and September 2nd. Ellen Yates with the Bidet Beautification Committee and Cindy Galloway with the Garden Club are going to discuss those for us now. So,
Good evening, everybody. My name's Ellen Yates, and I've lived here all my life. I'm president of the Vidalia Beautification Committee, and we are so blessed to have the Hydro Fund money, and we are so grateful to Mayor Murray for all he did for our town. We have a passion for Vidalia, and we want it to be beautiful, and we have some projects we would like to show you that the Vidalia Beautification Committee and the Vidalia Garden Club put together are going to make Vidalia more beautiful. We have 20 members in our club, and so I think the Garden Club has about 20 members in theirs. So we get together and brainstorm on all these ideas that we've come up with. If you watched the last two hydro meetings, I did present some of the ideas there. This is the final get-together of all the projects that we have come up with. We're seeking approval for them. I'd like to briefly just go over some of the pictures that are on the screen to give you an idea of what this will look like in our town. We have this extra money, and we tried to come up with things that most beautiful towns have. And of course, Vidalia does not have a downtown area, but we have Carter Street, and Carter Street is a beautiful street, and we think we can make it even more beautiful throughout the year and at Christmas. But I'll briefly go over some of these things. I broke it down into 3 projects. This is the Carter Street project. These lights that you see on the screen would be some of the lights that we would have at each traffic light throughout the town. Now, there are certain areas at these traffic lights we would need maybe 4. Some we would need 2. We don't know exactly where to place them. We'd have to do it legally. We'd have to get with the electrical company and see exactly where we could place them. But these would be used for plants, hanging plants that would last throughout the summer, and then we could also have a winter variety. We could also decorate these at Christmas time with wreaths or garlands. We just have lots of ideas that we could use for this. So there would be at each traffic light 6 traffic lights, 2 lighted poles with 2 hanging baskets on each pole. 12 poles, 24 baskets, 24 brackets, estimated cost $36,000. 20 self-watering pots. Okay, you can move it. Now, oh wait, let me tell you about these 3. Now, the one chosen is the first one. The second one is the one on the Natchez Bluff. You'll see it. It's very similar to the first one. We don't know exactly where we're going to get these, but we have several different companies that we're looking at. The third one may be used to match over on the Riverfront, across from the gazebo in front of the Riverland Medical Center. And I'll tell you all about that later. But this is just an idea, give you an idea of what they'll look like. Okay, we can go to the next screen. These are the self-watering pots to be placed throughout town. They only have to be watered every 2 weeks. The hanging baskets, as you can see on the bottom, that's the way it works. It has a water reservoir at the bottom, and it draws the water up through. They are very well-made pots, and the top pot is very large. It doesn't look large, but those are the ones that would be placed throughout town, and they are also self-watering pots. We have figured a total of 20 self-watering pots to be placed along Carter Street, and the cost of those pots would be $15,000. Okay, you want to go to the next picture? One of the other things that we are looking at are new Welcome to Vidalia signs. These are just some examples that we found pictures of that we might vote on to see which one the city wants. They all kind of have the same shape. Some of these are entrances to neighborhoods. Some of them are welcome signs to the town. Could you go up one more, Bobby? Okay, these are a few more. Also, the one at the bottom is the one at the old historic courthouse. That's a very traditional, beautiful shaped sign. We could use that also if we want to replicate that and put it at each end of Carter Street, but maybe do it in a different color brick or whatever. But this is to be decided later. These are just some options, and this is what's in part of our project plan. The next one is the old toll booth brick column. Can you break? Yeah. This is very historic. You know, this was part of the old toll booth back in the 1940s when the bridge was built. And Corinne Randazzo is a wonderful historian here in Vidalia. She's been around for years. She knows every old house in Vidalia, and she recognized this area to be something that needs to really pop when you come off the bridge. So we thought that we would, the Vidalia Beautification Committee would adopt this spot and create a beautiful flower bed and maybe put some type of art there. Maybe the brown pelican, that's what we're known for, or some other type of botanical art there. The flower bed and the art would be about $5,000 for that. Now, for all of these pots, all of these baskets, we would need flowers, we would need fertilizer, potting soil, and that would be around $9,000 we're thinking. The total estimate for project number 1, Carter Street project, is $90,000. Okay. Riverfront flower beds. Now this is, do you want to talk about, this is the Vidalia Garden Club's project, and I'll let Cindy talk a little bit about this.
Hi, my name is Cindy Galloway. I'm president of the Vidalia Garden Club. We have come up with a revitalization of the riverfront plan, a plan for that. When speaking to Upton Nursery and Brian Upton, a local landscape architect, the area at the riverfront signs as you come down off the levee, and the area around the splash pad, as y'all know, I had given a hard copy of a plan to everyone on the council, and so that, in addition to the area in front of the convention center, was also on the hard copy plan. And all of that, including soil amendments, which would need to be made, in addition to plants and upkeep, irrigation. There's been some repair of the irrigation there that's already there, but there would need to be some more added, more irrigation added for the plants to do well. And so the total of that was $35,000.
Thank you. Okay. These plans will take, I mean, they're not going to be done overnight, but we added some more light poles and hanging baskets. And we talked about this at the last meeting as a route, like going around the courthouse as a route to the riverfront to view the Christmas lights. But we added more of these lights, which is $20,000. All right. The gazebo And then you can bring the gazebos up now. We have been given permission to decorate the gazebo on the riverfront. These are just two designs that we thought we'd let you see to see how it may look at Christmas. The gazebo, and maybe put a flower bed around it would be $5,000. Okay, the next one is the Riverwalk, Sidewalk, banners and signs. Would you please correct that? That's going to be $8,000 each, not $10,000. You can mark through that. A little bit cheaper there. But all the Riverwalk signs and banners and botanical art would be $8,000 apiece, and then the total estimate is $76,000. Okay, the third project is the Old Historic Courthouse Square. We are thinking about since we don't have a downtown, creating an area that looks kind of like Natchez downtown, but using lighted street poles like the ones you saw at first. These are Natchez skylines decorations. We have some similar that we can order from a company. But anyway, these would go between the poles. So that would be 20-foot, 20-foot poles at $35,000. All right, then a large courthouse American flag, around $2,000 for the front of the courthouse. These lighted wreath garlands or the sky, those that you're looking at right there, the total would be $28,000. The total estimate for project number 3 is $84,000. And let's see, on the very back page. Project number 1, Carter Street, $90,000. Riverfront flower beds, $76,000. Old Historic Courthouse, $84,000. Total for all projects, $250,000.
Okay?
Okay.
So they came to both our meetings and they requested that. I think they're good projects. Matter of fact, I think y'all were the only group that did show up and ask. We had talked to a lot of groups throughout the year for things, and y'all are the ones that showed up, and I think it's a worthy project. It's going to make a big difference for our town, especially aesthetically, and it's going to give a good sense of community. I think it's going to be something that's going to make, especially with all the activity we're going to see in with American Cruise Lines, get their dock in there, people coming off, and they're going to walk onto a place of beauty. And right now, it doesn't look pretty down there around those flower beds and stuff. And there's a lot of flower beds, not only around our convention center and around all those entrances, but it's going to make a big difference. And I'm really excited. Thank y'all for this ask. And I think this is...
Community is out there that have been discussed. They're still ongoing. This is a new project that just got on the list. And a lot of pushback from the fact that they want to see this projects that are out there already before we consider this project. That's just what I'm feeling from the public.
Okay. And I've discussed where we're at on the project. Matter of fact, Alderman Betts...
But there's other projects. Let me, if you want, that's just what we discussed here, but there's the tree cutting for our power to the cities, to the citizens. We've talked about how many trees are dangerous to us and our power.
That's in here today.
No, where's it at?
You look on the last page.
It's in here, but that I'm talking about is private property trees that can't be cut by the city of Vidalia. These are trees that are, I talked to Jeremy today, these are 20-some trees that are detrimental to our power that's been ongoing. I've got a citizen right now that is very concerned about a tree. Been ongoing for 2 years, he told me. Promised he was going to get it cut. Never heard another word from anybody.
Who promised him he was going to cut it?
He said the electrical department, that eventually they were on the list. That's what they keep saying. They're on the list for being cut. He said, I've never heard another word from anybody. I'm just on the list. So I would like to see those projects, that one particularly, totally completed.
If it's
before we do any more projects. That was one. Also, there's a project that was about the lighting, just like on Carter Street, down on the highway going on MLK for Martin Luther King, and the lighting for just like we've got on Carter for Christmas stuff. That was a project that was discussed that never was. Also, the security cameras that we talked about that were brought up to me by another citizen. Where'd they go to? Fell through the cracks. I thought we were going to do something. I talked to Bobby at length about that after the last meeting. He said it can be done, included in his fiber optics deal. But again, it's never been brought up. Those are 3 projects that I know have been brought to me by citizens that need to be done to protect our citizens, and not to say that beautification isn't important, but those are things that need to be done.
And those
things are what they'd like to see done prior to.
Well, I mean, those things, were they approved? Were they approved?
No, we haven't got him, no.
Okay.
Those were not approved.
Why wouldn't we advertise Alderman Probst for a long time, put on Facebook? Where were those citizens when we had the meetings?
They've already been to meetings. They've already discussed this. These were past
I know,
meetings, and
okay.
they were on the list.
But
They were on the project.
All right, they were on, you're right. That was for last year. And
They
when
were
we
on the
got-
project
And when we
for-
got in
no,
there,
it's more than
let me
1
finish.
year.
When we finished last year, when they were put up and brought up for projects, the only 2 that were brought was Alderman Gardner had the slough, which is ongoing.
Right.
And the playground, which,
Right.
that's only been a year ago.
But no, these were prior to those years. These were way back. But they were on a project list.
But-
Whenever you asked them to bring
Okay.
them in,
Well,
they
then-
didn't feel like they needed to come back in and discuss them again. They were already
Well,
projects that
why
were presented
wasn't-
by the public.
Why wasn't they brought up by any of y'all?
Why us? I didn't have the reason to bring them up. Because they're already on the list, but there's supposed to be a list of projects that you've gotten over the years to complete that have not been done. They have not been done, but you said there was a list.
When were they approved?
They weren't approved. They were.
Then how
things
am I
that-
gonna do a project if it's
No,
not
This is
approved?
what I'm saying. These were things that were laid out there for the citizens to choose what they wanted to spend the money on.
Okay.
Okay, but those people presented their requests. They were on the list.
Okay.
But they were never brought back up in a meeting. I didn't
Okay.
need to bring them up. You got the list, but they've just.
Y'all had that
dwindled
list
away.
too, and we said, what do y'all want out of this we said, what do y'all want to pick? And that year, Alderman Dorey at the time picked the playground, and Alderman
Right.
Gardner. Nobody recommended do any of the other projects. So those projects, we discussed them back then, but we had other people talk about things this past time. They're not, I've got a couple of things on here, but what I'm saying is to hold these ladies off because of something that's not even been
Well,
approved.
why didn't we bring those projects up and approve them then when they were brought up?
They weren't brought up in the 2 meetings we had.
Now, not this meeting, in the past hydro meetings. In the past hydro meetings, they weren't pushed through like this project. I'm just telling you, and that's what they want to know, why didn't our projects get approved? I'm telling you what I'm hearing from citizens in
All
the
right, well,
community.
Is that, the tree, is that on private property?
Private property, we can't cut
How
it.
can you do that?
By funds from this, by a private contractor.
No, you can't. That's
Yes,
still
you
pri-
can.
That's still private, that's still
It still
public
can be done
funds.
through hydro funds to improvement.
No.
It is improvement to protect our electrical grid. It is. Oh, yeah, we look to it, John, because Jeremy told me today it could.
We're looking at it.
Well, you find out and let me know, okay? Because you show me where it says you can't, because Jeremy said it could be. And he's asked for that for many years, he told me today. And he said those trees need to be cut.
You know what? I've
Talk to him.
had 2 in my backyard have needed to be cut. That's what I thought was going to kill me one night in a storm, but the neighbor took them down.
But that's not about killing you, it's about protection of the public.
Well, it was going to have to go across our power lines to get to me. So yeah, it
All I'm
wouldn't.
saying is what I've been told from the public, what
Okay.
I was told by Jeremy on that particular one. The signs on the down there, that was brought up, like I said, that was also a project somebody brought back to me.
Well, the money is still available for projects?
Right.
Okay.
So why don't we go ahead and approve those projects too?
Make a project, recommendation and let's have a vote on it.
They've made the project recommendation
No,
in the
sir.
past.
You
Wait a
made
minute, wait a
one
minute.
now.
I just have one
Well, then we
comment.
need to not have a list. Don't say we've got a list, okay? Don't say we've got a list of
Okay,
projects.
hold on. All I'll say is, Alderman Probst, you came to both those public meetings, and if somebody is in your ear, why didn't you say something in those two
Because
public
this
meetings?
was after the meetings, okay? This was after the meeting. In fact, it was after this came up on the agenda.
Okay, all right,
Quick question. Can you clarify for me a little bit about which trees the city is responsible for trimming and which trees the city is not responsible for?
I will be glad to answer that, because our ordinance calls for, if someone owns property adjacent to the road, they're responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of that property all the way to the road, okay? The sidewalk is not, everything between the sidewalk and the street is not the town's. Do you know how many trees are between the sidewalk and the street all through town? We would be in the tree trimming business, sidewalk edging business if we were supposed to maintain those properties. The adjacent landowner who owns that is supposed to maintain those properties. Whether it's a stump, whether it's a tree, whatever. If that tree's hanging over their house, the town's not responsible to come in and keep your tree trimmed. And somebody said, well, y'all, that's your stump. Well, if that stump's ours, that tree's ours. And so that's not the case. Now, we're going to talk about tree trimming, it's in this. But we cannot just arbitrarily go up in somebody's private property and cut their tree.
Well, I'm not arguing with you, I wanted clarification because I just wanted to understand better. So I'm
But
not-
that's what the ordinance calls for, and that's the ruling on it. So I know where all that's coming from. All right, let's,
We have a motion.
okay, is it,
We have a motion.
Up on the same subject.
okay.
We have a motion.
Whose responsibility is the sidewalk?
Responsibility is the town's to maintain the sidewalk,
Because my sidewalks in District 1 look like crap.
okay?
Walnut, corner of Walnut and
No, he live in District 1, District 1.
Trip Hazard.
Okay, all right. Hey, look, these ladies have requests, they're on the agenda, let's address them, okay? Okay, but,
Say something.
okay.
All of these projects that y'all are talking about, they should have been here at the Hydro meeting. I have worked myself crazy over this.
I understand, but that's,
All of this stuff done, they should have been here to that's
Okay, all right, we've got a motion, and, okay, we had a motion and we had a second, didn't we?
Yes.
Okay, anybody, any more council?
Yeah, I have something to say.
Okay.
Me personally, yes, well, I'm gonna start by saying this. I appreciate you all for showing up tonight. I think y'all look really great in y'all red shirts. But there were projects, there were priority projects, and this one seems to have came in and has been bumped to the top from the mayor making recommendations for y'all to come and ask for so much money is what was brought to my attention. Hold on, if you don't mind. And I just feel like if you ladies had got together, or guys, whatever is in y'all group, and made a consensus decision as a group, not based off of his recommendation on a certain amount of money to ask for it, then I would be in support. But I feel like it's the mayor telling you guys how much money to propose and ask for because the funds are potentially there.
Okay, this has been in process for 5 years, since the Vidalia Beautification Committee started. 5 years we have been working on this, not just recently. And don't y'all want a beautiful town?
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, don't y'all
We also need our school to
Okay, all right, okay. All right, all right. No, okay. Let's go ahead. We've had a motion. We've had a second. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and call for a vote. Well, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Motion offered by Alderman Betts and seconded by Alderwoman Denby is to approve funds from excess hydroelectric revenues for the town beautification and landscaping projects be managed by the Vidalia Beautification Committee and Vidalia Garden Club as presented at public hearings held August 31st and September 2nd, 2021. Alderman Betts.
Yes.
Alderwoman Denby.
Yes.
Alderman Gardner,
No.
Alderman Probst.
No.
Alderman Smith is absent. Mayor, the vote on the motions as follows. The yeas are 2, the nays are 2, 1 is absent. The motion is tied. Council is reading over the law regarding tie votes on resolutions.
Yeah, tie votes on ordinances can't be broken by the mayor, but tie votes on resolutions can.
With it being a tie because of an absence. If it's an abstain vote, it's not absent, it is.
Do you say I can break the tie?
Yes.
I vote for. Okay, let's move on to number 12. We're getting close. We're almost done, y'all. Discussion of plans to install culvert in the area of Viking Street and Eleanor Street. As y'all know, behind Viking and Eleanor, it's problematic, especially when it gets seepage water in it and ruts all through it. It's hard to maintain and keep cut. So one of the solutions we want to investigate is possibility of putting a culvert there and filling it in where it could be maintained and cut instead of being the situation that it is now. It stays growed up a pretty good bit. So I just want to let y'all know this is more or less an information thing to find out what our options are going to be. So if y'all have any questions, I mean, other ideas, I'll be glad to listen to what other ideas you'd like to see us do, but that is a area of need in our town. So I just want to bring that up to you.
Will that take the water to the big?
Yes. Yes. So if there's no question on that, I'm not asking for a vote or anything. I'm just letting y'all know this is for information purposes. Okay, number 13 is discussion of town streets designated for overlay project. Lee Staggs and I have went over it, and Lee, can you go ahead and give maybe a quick rundown? We don't know how many streets we're going to be able to get done, but this is the list of the streets of need right now that we have identified.
Hey, thank y'all. This was, I think this was brought up by Alderman Probst, $500,000 for put in our budget for the re-addition to more streets to be asphalted. Thanks for putting that up for us. The mayor, like the mayor said, him and I went out and we graded all of the streets in town that was not on the last list. The streets we graded, the first one is going to be Symington and Miranda streets, and I've been talking to Brian Hammond and Associates. I've been working pretty close with Hayden, and we went around and looked at talked about the base under these roads, and this is probably going to be our most expensive fix is Symington and Miranda, because the base under it right now is not very good. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to mill the whole subdivision, and we'll come in and tear that base up, and then we're going to put a new base down, pack it, and then we're going to do it just like we did on Riverside.
Yeah,
and that road's
in
been
that
holding
back
up.
corner is the worst, isn't it? I mean, back in that.
It's
all bad.
It's
up
all
in
bad.
there.
It's all bad. So Symington and Miranda is going to be our first two streets. Like I said, we have $500,000. I don't know how far this is going to go because the base up under it is a big added expense to that. The next street, the front Lee all the way from, let's see, that's going to be, Lee Avenue is going to be all the way down to Mosby Courts. We're going to overlay that whole street. We're going to mill it up and overlay the whole street. We're also going to ask for, y'all know we had the milling of the last time. Of course, we have used all of the milling. We've been putting that stuff everywhere at the sewer lagoon. So that street's going to be all the way from Nichols Drive all the way to Mosby Courts. And it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be cut up and overlaid. And the next street is going to be Dotson Street. Dotson Street's in real bad disarray. And it's going to go all the way from Riverside all the way down. It's a dead-end street right there, so it's going to be in Mr. Gardner's district. That street is in pretty bad shape. So that's the third street on the list. You know, if we have extra monies left over, you know, then this list is going to, if we don't get to do these on this project, it's going to be the first on the next project. So the next one is, we have a little section on Dogwood Street. It's a little small section at the very end of the street that's a circle drive right there. And the end of that circle drive it's got holes all in it. We've patched it several times, and it's I don't know whether it's a seepage problem or what, but we're gonna have to go back and look at the base under that. And
I can tell you what it is. I live on the street, and that ain't the reason it's on the list. It is bad.
Yeah,
It's
it's
for a
bad.
street, those trucks turn.
Yeah, turn around, they pushed asphalt
Yeah,
out,
it just
so.
pushed, that's what's causing that.
The next one is gonna be Lynn Street. That's gonna be all the way, excuse me, I take it back, that's not gonna, it'll be Dandridge Street. Lynn, it's gonna go from Lynn Street all the way to the end, that's another dead-end street, and the whole circle down there, which is a pretty large, substantial area, that's all gonna have to be overlaid also. And it's gonna be milled and overlaid. And the,
So you're not gonna do Lynn?
No. We're gonna go from Lynn Street down to Dandridge Street. It's a dead-end street. The next spot is going to be North Magnolia, and it's gonna go all the way from the very dead-end part of North Magnolia, and it's gonna go all the way up to where we left off the last time, and it's gonna go all the way up to Florida Street. So that's the last street on the list. Like I said, if we don't get to, with money, we have $500,000, and y'all know asphalt don't go very far with that, since, the last money that we spent. But the streets that don't go on the list will be first on the next time if somebody wants to bring it.
And they are gonna be in this order?
Correct, that's the order we're gonna do. One of the reasons that, when we get our companies, when we do our bidding out, they wanna know what areas we wanna go in, so it's cheaper for us to do an area like in one neighborhood, we're gonna have to move their equipment and so forth. But if y'all got any more questions?
It's not gonna require an action item. It's just, that's just letting you know, what streets are on the list. And y'all have time to, if you have any other questions or recommendations, we'll certainly
You said
listen.
500,000, I thought it was an additional amount added.
I did.
He added 500, another $500,000 to.
And then I came back and I added additional, I thought I added additional for
I think it was
streets
just
or something.
500,000 total that Alderman Probst
I thought
put in
I
the
added-
budget to do more streets.
Originally, that's what it started off, but then I thought this past year, I added more to that.
It was just original 500,000 on the budget.
What do you think
But,
you added, right?
I can't remember.
But what we're gonna try to do, like I said, I've been in touch with Brian Hammond Associates already, so we're going to try to get this done before the end of this year, so.
Okay, all right.
Thanks.
Thank you, Lee. The last thing we got is discussion of plan for clearing power lines of overhanging limbs and/or trees, and this is going to require action. We talked about this at the hydro meetings. Y'all, I don't want to go through what we went through this last freeze, and what we're going to do is take bids and identify which limbs over power services need to be cut. And now, if it's a tree on our right of way, yes, we can take it if it's in danger. And we will look into what we can do on a tree that's dead, that's in somebody's yard, that's a danger to our power system. I still think you can open up a can of worms, because everybody in town's got a tree they want took down, and you're gonna be in there, hey, that tree's a danger to your power line. Oh, yeah, we'll cut it. I got you. I don't want that. I'm not getting into that. So the best thing to do, and what we've always done, and what Mark Moros at the time said it was better off and cheaper on the town, instead of getting into that business, is usually if one tree fell, they just address it and get in there and get it cleaned up and get the power back up and address them as they go. So, but we do have power lines that have tree limbs over them. I do want to get approval. That's one of the things I requested, and get outside companies to come in to address all of our power lines and get all the dangerous tree limbs from above them. So I'm just asking for, I don't know what the amount is yet until we identify. I'm just telling y'all that if we can get that approved, I'll get bids, and then we'll bring it back to you for final approval on a dollar amount.
Would it be
possible
Motion we
to
approve.
get tree limbs that are hanging over? It may be on a private lot, but the limb is hanging over in the street. So is that possible?
Oh, over the street?
Yes.
Now, if it's over the street, what we do is we go up 15 feet, just so our emergency personnel, and we normally go in ourselves and do that, Miss Rosa, and we try to maintain a 15-foot clearance over our street.
Well, this has been hanging, and I talked to Lee about it.
Okay.
It has, every time you go on that street, I go and come on that street, it hit the top of the vehicle.
Which one is it?
What street is that?
what is that street? Vidal Street. I told you about it.
Okay. All right. Well,
I had to quit going that way, and I go in and out there, but, it hits the top of your vehicle because it may be on private property, but the limb has grown over in the street.
but what I'm wanting to do, and I want y'all to, is we brought it up during the hydro meetings to do this. And I just want approval from the council to get the bids and identify them and bring a list back to y'all for approval to get this done.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Alderman Garner, second by Alderman Probst. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, do I hear a motion we adjourn?
Make that motion.
Motion made by Alderman Denby, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Betts. All in favor say aye. Aye. All right, thank y'all.